Tonight, a stunning health setback. Canada stripped of its measles-free status. The reasons behind the resurgence.
The dominant emotion I have is sadness, and then a little bit of anger after that.
And what it will take to get it back. Powerful reflections on the eve of Remembrance Day.
I enjoyed my time in the Air Force.
Plus, how some local legions are bucking the trend of declining memberships and financial losses. And a made-in-Canada moment.
The flame in the air, bicycle! Oh my God!
Why this sensational strike is scoring headlines around the world.
It's honestly insane to me.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina, reporting tonight from Ottawa.
Good evening. We are live from the National War Memorial tonight, where Canada is preparing to honor military heroes on Remembrance Day for their service and their sacrifice. But we begin with a different kind of battle tonight, a growing health crisis and the loss of Canada's measles-free status for the first time in 27 years. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver starts us off.
Measles is one of the world's most contagious diseases, but low vaccination rates leading to a year of outbreaks across the country have lost Canada its measles-free status.
It's very disappointing. I mean, we are a global leader in medicine and health and science and public health, and this certainly bruises our reputation.
Canada received its measles elimination status in 1998 after decades of rallying to stop its circulation. But now the virus has come roaring back.
It's not about Canadians in general not getting vaccinated. This is happening because particular communities have been wary of vaccination.
From 1998 to 2024, an average of just 91 cases were reported annually. So far this year, 4,800 cases have been confirmed, with another 362 considered probable.
You can imagine one person going into a community setting, a school setting, will infect 17, and that other person will infect 17, and so on. And that's why we're getting the numbers in the thousands.
Measles infects the respiratory tract and then spread throughout the body, with a rash and high fever the most common symptoms. While most recover, it can cause deafness and, in rare cases, death.
Make sure you do your vaccinations. That's my biggest concern, because if I was a little late with hers, and I think that if I would have got it on time, then maybe she wouldn't have got it.
Michelle's Sear daughter is still recovering from her case of measles last month. Sear doesn't know where she caught it.
She still kind of has some symptoms now. Like, she has a blister on the top of her mouth that hasn't gone away, and her whole back is covered in hives.
The designation by the Pan American Health Organization is largely symbolic, but it represents a hard-won battle, Omar, against the disease.
All right, Annie, thank you. The rapid spread of measles in Canada over the past year can be traced to a single case. CTV's Heather Wright on how we got here and the road ahead.
Public health officials say Canada's measles outbreak began on October 27, 2024, when an international traveler attended a wedding in New Brunswick. Guests at that wedding then went home to southwestern Ontario, where an outbreak began among the close-knit Mennonite community. The virus then began to spread throughout the country, mainly among the unvaccinated.
The dominant emotion I have is sadness.
James Talbot is a former chief medical officer of health in Alberta and worked on eliminating measles in the 1990s. He says the tools to rein in the spread of the virus are there, but aren't being used in every part of the country.
If we really want to respond properly to this loss of the elimination status, we need to strengthen public health across the country, but in particular in Ontario and Alberta.
Alberta and Ontario have struggled to control the spread of the virus. Combined, they represent 84% of all cases. Ontario's outbreak was declared over last month, while Alberta most recently reported 2 cases. Increasing vaccination rates, strengthening public health measures like contact tracing, and creating a national vaccine database are among some of the recommendations for Canadian officials. But during a time of political polarization, vaccine hesitancy, and vaccine misinformation, experts say it could be a long road.
I think we have a tolerant approach to people who have very good reasons for not getting vaccinated. And if that approach is maintained, then we will have vulnerable geographies in the country. And that's something we're going to have to live with.
Canada can regain its measles elimination status once transmission of the virus has stopped for at least 12 months. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
There will be a significant change tomorrow at the National Remembrance Day ceremony here in Ottawa. Governor General Mary Simon, the Commander-in-Chief of Canada's Armed Forces, will not be able to attend as she recovers in hospital from a respiratory virus. She is said to be doing well. Chief Justice Richard Wagner will attend the ceremony on her behalf. And later in the show, we'll hear from 2 Canadian veterans about what this Remembrance Day means to them. The Prime Minister revealed today that the next round of projects that will receive government fast-tracking will be announced later this week, but already attention has turned to one project that is creating a major clash between Canada's 2 westernmost provinces and whether that one makes the cut. CTV senior political correspondent Michael Couture explains.
The next round of major projects is going to be announced later this week, on Thursday.
So we know when, but we don't know what will be announced in the second phase of the so-called nation-building projects. New Brunswick was left off the first list in September, but Premier Susan Holt is hopeful that won't happen this time.
We've been working hard on a number of projects, and the announcement won't be the interties. It will be one of the other projects that we've been pushing for.
The first round of projects to have federal support included LNG expansion in BC, a small modular reactor project in Ontario, expanded port facilities in Montreal, and 2 mines in Western Canada. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith wants a pipeline to Tidewater to be on this next list. On her radio show this weekend, she said she's talking with the federal government.
We've been going back and forth now daily on a memorandum of understanding, and I hope that we're able to iron out some of the differences that we have in time for Grey Cup or shortly after.
In a statement to CTV News, Smith said those discussions include working towards the ultimate approval of the Alberta to BC bitumen pipeline. Now, while BC's premier is opposed to it, Prime Minister Carney hasn't ruled it out.
We're on the pipeline stuff. Danielle's on line 1. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But, well, something's going to happen. Let's put it that way.
The Canadian Chamber of Commerce applauds the Major Projects Office, but says it doesn't solve the bigger problem of getting things built in this country.
There are 350,000 federal regulations that businesses need to comply with. We are creating more rules around investment than we're creating investment.
The Prime Minister's announcement will be in Prince Rupert, BC, perhaps an indication that province will see the approval of another major project. Omar.
All right, Mike, thank you. Canadian actor Mike Smith, who plays the character Bubbles on the long-running TV series Trailer Park Boys, was charged with sexual assault today in connection with an alleged incident 8 years ago. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth reports.
53-year-old Mike Smith was not in the courtroom to face the single count of alleged sexual assault dating back to 2017 in Dartmouth.
This is an allegation at this point. It hasn't been proven. It'll be tried in the court. It won't be tried in the media. And in the meantime, we ask that the privacy of everyone involved be respected.
Trailer Park Boys is a mockumentary sitcom. Its 13th season is scheduled to air in 2026. The actor known as Bubbles on the TV show was charged by Halifax police last month.
It is actually quite common for charges of sexual violence to come out later on into years following the alleged incident. That's not uncommon. We do see that regularly, and that's why there's no limitation for sexual violence.
CTV News requested an interview with Halifax Regional Police, who said they will not be providing any interviews in relation to this investigation. Smith also faced a battery charge in Los Angeles in April 2016 for an alleged incident involving a woman at a hotel. The charge was dropped a month later, prosecutors say, due to a lack of evidence. In this case, the judge has ordered a publication ban on the female complainant's identity. Smith is ordered to have no contact with her. He could enter a plea at his next court date on December 3rd.
That'll depend on if disclosure's been complete and what him and his counsel have discussed, but it is set for election and plea at that time.
In a statement, Trailer Park Boys Incorporated said they will not comment further on the case, and Smith has stepped away from the show. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
U.S. President Donald Trump has pardoned dozens of allies accused of trying to overturn his 2020 election loss, including his former personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. In a proclamation, Trump said the move would end a grave national injustice and continue the process of national reconciliation. Trump's pardons include 77 people, but the move is largely symbolic, as pardons only apply to federal crimes, and all of the recipients were charged at the state level. The pardon does not apply to Trump himself. The U.S. Senate has voted to approve a funding measure to end the longest government shutdown in American history. The bill now goes to the House for approval and then the president. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbon on the toll it is taking on travel before the deal is done.
Even with the news of a possible shutdown deal, airlines braced for more turbulence. A staggering number of delays and thousands of flights canceled at America's busiest airports after the Trump administration ordered drastic flight reductions for safety reasons.
It was madness, craziness. Everybody was pissed. It was not a pleasant experience at all.
With a shortage of air traffic controllers forced to work without pay or take other jobs to make ends meet, President Donald Trump lashed out, posting, "All air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked."
When the most disciplined safety workforce in America is forced to think about survival instead of public safety, this is the cost.
A breakaway group of Democratic senators joined Republicans to end the shutdown stalemate, saying this is the best deal they could get.
What we have in this bill is the restoration of all the furloughed employees and a guarantee of their back pay. That's a big win for 2 million federal employees.
What they didn't get was what they were holding out for, an extension of expiring Obamacare health care subsidies for millions of Americans. Angry Democrats say they caved.
The American people do not want Democrats to be bullied into submission. They want Democrats to fight for their health care.
The deal secures a promise of a vote on health care, but no guarantee that it will ever happen, leaving Democrats bitterly divided.
They're going to have to explain themselves to their constituents and to the American people.
The shutdown may be winding down, but flight cancellations are still set to ramp up to 10%, and it could be a week or longer before air travel gets back to normal. Omar?
All right, Joy Malbon in Washington. Joy, thank you. An early blast of winter snarled traffic across parts of the U.S. and Canada, with some record-breaking snowfall hitting Ontario. The cleanup continues in Toronto, where more snow fell today on top of yesterday's 10 centimeters, the city's highest two-day total this early in the year since October 1981. A few hours up the highway here in Ottawa, nearly 12 centimeters fell, making it the snowiest November 9th since 1897. Well, all that winter weather made for an iconic moment on the soccer pitch here in the nation's capital during the Canadian Premier League final last night. CTV's Josh Morano on the so-called icicle kick, making international headlines.
The claim in the air. Bicycle!
Through a thick blanket of snow, a moment that will not only be remembered by Ottawa soccer fans, but those around the world.
It's never going to leave my mind.
David Rodriguez nets a beautiful goal in the Canadian Premier League final, now forever known as the icicle kick.
This morning, I've been watching the bicycle kick go on repeat. The icicle kick, as they have now coined the term.
Rodriguez is down again. Carney comes out, but Rodriguez chips it.
Rodriguez following up again with the game-winning goal in extra time and a tumble into a snowbank, leading Atletico Ottawa to their first CPL trophy in club history.
People started doing chants in the washrooms. It was electric in the bathrooms just to stay warm, which is, again, that's a Canadian heritage moment.
Snow covering the pitch, the players, and the 13,000 fans in attendance at TD Place.
We get to the stadium and I look around, I'm like, oh, this is going to be insane, just seeing the snow coming down. And once the game kicks off, I'm like, I've never experienced anything like that.
As much as we like the icicle kick, that happened on the other end of the field. We were in section W. We couldn't even really tell what was happening down there. There was so much snow coming down.
Fans doing their best to stay warm.
I still have my gloves with the heat warmers in there. I got one in here, one in here. Last night I had each in my boots. We were giving them out.
We had 3 megaphones, and all of them stopped working since it was that cold.
The game and the icicle kick, now famous worldwide.
Atletico Ottawa facing Cavalry
FC. Even players are out there grabbing shovels.
Drawing coverage from sports and news outlets in the United States and all the way to the United Kingdom and Australia.
They're talking about Ottawa, and it's just like all across the world, even big Twitter accounts that don't even talk about sports. And it's honestly insane to me that my hometown city club here is making global headlines.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
Only in Canada. Coming up.
Just never forget.
What veterans want people to remember this year. More than 1 million Canadians served in the Second World War, and today only a few thousand remain. CTV's Alex Carpa spoke to some of them about what they want Canadians to know on the eve of Remembrance Day.
102-year-old Percy Rosamond was just 19 when he joined the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1942.
I don't know why, but I enjoyed my time in the Air Force.
He was an aircraft mechanic during the war stationed in England, where he worked on Liberator bombers. Rosamond recalls his brother, who was an air gunner during the war, left England the same day he arrived.
I thought that was quite a novel thing to have happen.
101-year-old Andrew Prodanek was also 19 when he joined the war effort in 1943.
I tried to get into be a pilot, but all the positions were filled because this was near the end of the war, and so I took on navigation.
Prodanek trained in Brandon, Regina, Saskatoon, and ended up in Rivers, Manitoba. By the time his training was complete, the war was over. He says he has fond memories of his time in active duty.
It was very interesting work.
With Remembrance Day tomorrow, Prodanek and Rosamond will both remember friends who made the ultimate sacrifice. And with that, Rosamond is sharing a simple message.
Just never forget.
Both men live at this facility here in Winnipeg and are part of a dwindling number of Second World War veterans in Canada, a conflict where more than 1 million Canadians served. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Still ahead. The milestone anniversary of a nautical disaster and how it inspired a Canadian legend to record a timeless anthem. The Grey Cup made a grand entrance over Winnipeg under the watch of the Canadian Armed Forces. The CFL's top prize arrived in style ahead of Sunday's matchup between the Montreal Alouettes and Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Watching that Canadian Armed Forces helicopter hover over the ground here at the Forks and the Grey Cup rappelling down was something incredibly special. I've never seen anything like that before.
The symbolic handoff from the military to league officials signals the start of the championship countdown.
American woman, stay away from me.
The Guess Who has announced a 2026 Canadian tour. While Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman have performed together over the years, a legal fight with former band members prevented them from using the Guess Who name. That case has now been settled. Today marks 50 years since the storied sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald on Lake Superior, which inspired one of Gordon Lightfoot's most popular songs.
And every man knew as the captain did, the witch of November comes sailing.
The massive cargo ship and all 29 of its crew perished during a surprise severe storm. Powerful waves and gale force winds battered the vessel and knocked out its radar before it was dragged to the bottom of the lake, carrying thousands of kilograms of iron ore. That was on November 10th, 1975. Lightfoot passed away in 2023, but once spoke with our very own Lloyd Robertson about where he found the inspiration for the song.
I'm really interested in current events. I like to follow current events, and it's not really a tough thing to do these days because there's a lot of really interesting things happening in the world.
How long did it take to write Edmund Fitzgerald then?
About a week. I stayed up all night rewriting it.
There's a lesson from the Chippewa down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi.
Still ahead, we'll take you inside a BC Legion that's become a financial success story while making a difference in the lives of those it serves. The Royal Canadian Legion has served as a cornerstone for local communities, and although many branches have struggled to stay open, some have seen a sudden revival. Here's CTV's Andrew Johnson on what's behind the success of a BC branch.
G59, we have a bingo call.
It's a packed house for bingo night at the Maple Ridge Legion.
Do people get into it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They start screaming the numbers out.
The dozens with dabbers poring over bingo cards are some of the more than 2,600 members of the largest and most successful Legion in the country.
It's an amazing place.
I've always felt very comfortable and very safe in here to come in all by myself, have a glass of wine on a dinner, or meet with friends.
Struggling. Bingo night, karaoke, dances, and the classic meat draw bring people in, but there's more to this Legion than entertainment.
In addition to fundraising and support for veterans and their families, the Maple Ridge Legion operates 2 housing developments built on partially donated land decades ago. It provides hundreds of homes for veterans and seniors at much less than market value. The branch boasts assets in the range of $50 million.
We had some great executive members who were forward-thinking.
Very good groundwork to begin with. When I got there over 30 years ago, there was people in place that knew what they were doing.
They credit business smarts and huge community support with helping this branch weather the post-pandemic struggles that have led to some closures across the country. Membership in BC overall is now growing, and the Legion says that's also happening Canada-wide as branches diversify.
Some innovative models are starting to pop up around the country. So you have that model where you have help available at a branch. You might also have some support services in-house.
In Maple Ridge, members are incredibly grateful for the place they count on.
Where do you go? You can't just go to a bar. You know, where do you meet people? Well, you come to the Legion.
They hope for many years to come. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Maple Ridge, BC.
It's a great success story, and hope you can join us for the National Remembrance Day ceremony here at the National War Memorial in Ottawa tomorrow. Our special coverage begins at 10 a.m. Eastern on CTV, CTV News Channel, and ctvnews.ca. And that's a snapshot of this Monday. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and see you in the morning.